Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Of course, my name is Blitzwinger, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back to, of course, another LEGO DC Universe Superheroes set review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the set titled The Bat vs. Bane Tumbler Chase, which is a quite exciting title indeed. Very action-oriented. Of course, this was a set that was a tie-in with the Dark Knight Rises film, and kind of like try to take some of the scenes that we saw in that film and reinterpret them into LEGO form. Now, of course, this is set number 76001, and of course, it contains 368 pieces, so actually a nicely sized set. I think that so far, I haven't done any sets that were like, insane amount of parts, like we're talking like over 1,000. I think the highest set I've ever done, I think was like 720, I think, something like that, but this is really the ideal size because it doesn't take too long, but at the same time, you still get a nice, hefty, cool vehicle and assembly together. So, nonetheless, of course, very cool packaging. As always, a really dynamic shot. As you can see, we can see all the goodies that we get in here, including the Tumbler, the Bat, Batman inside. Then, of course, you can kind of make out that Bane is driving the Tumbler. And then, of course, also Commissioner Gordon over here, along with a little bit of side road barricades and stuff, which is a nice little addition. So, with that being said, let's see what you get once you assemble everything inside. So, the total build time on this is probably, I would say, I think it took me about 35, maybe 40 minutes, but I was also talking to some friends and stuff like that in a Skype call, so that definitely affected my building speed. But I would say that if you're rushing it and you just need to get it done, you could probably get this done in like 20, maybe 25 minutes or so. But if you want to enjoy it and kind of have a little bit of a leisurely time, have that enjoyment of assembling Legos, I think you'd probably spend like a good 40 minutes to maybe even an hour. With all that in mind, of course, let's begin by taking a look at the two vehicles. We'll kick things off with the smaller of the vehicles, which I have Bane kind of riding on the outside of. But this is, of course, the Tumbler, which looks really cool. Now, of course, this is the rendition of the Tumbler as we saw when Bane got his hands on the Tumbler in the Dark Knight Rises films, so it's obviously not all black and stuff like that. I know that a lot of people weren't happy about the scale of this thing. For me personally, would I have rathered it to be bigger? Yes. Would I have wanted to get a really big bat as well? Yeah. But we have seen a Tumbler release now, and we have seen what a real full-scale Tumbler release would cost, which is, in the multiples of a couple $100, which shows you why they had to go with this scale and why it makes sense that, for the price we're paying, this is just A-okay by me, and I do not mind it whatsoever. I know some people don't like it, but I think that for the price that we're paying for these sets, this is just as good as you could possibly do. So as you can see, there's some really nice details that are brought to the piece through some really cool stickers and stuff. I love the stickers that have like the Bane mask-like design right here, and then at the very top. That's really neat. It's just a nice touch there. Of course, we've got the opening hatch here, so you could go ahead and grab, Bane or any minifigure. I was going to say Bane, but you could grab any other minifigure and stick him or her in there. And they do have to actually, sorry, I forgot about that. They do have to be kind of leaning a little bit more forwards than usual, and then you can close that down. So they're almost kind of like lying down like that if their body shape is straight. They're not going to be able to sit that way because the hatch is going to be hitting them on the head. Now, other than that, we got some really cool rubber tires. I really like the way that they managed to keep that kind of arrow-like shape design going for the Tumbler, which is really cool, where it's flatter in the front, wider in the back. Really sweet. Really nice little fire element going on in the back, which is a nice detail. Really wide rubber tires in the back, allowing for really great rolling, and some nice rubber tires in the front as well, so that's great. And then also, of course, you need to have a little bit of firepower to deal with Batman, so you've got these little flaps that you can bring up like this, and then you can fold out these little flick fire missiles, which I actually really love that. I always love when a weapon can be disguised. To me, there's just something really cool about that. It's kind of like that James Bond-like feel. There's something really spy about that, and there's something really sweet about that. Like, I don't like when the weapon is like right in your face. I think there's a lot more elegant or elegance, sorry, to the design when you can kind of hide away the weapons and like you didn't even notice it before, right? Like it's so well hidden behind these flaps, you don't even notice it. You think like, oh, that's probably part of the build. But when you outfold these, you realize, oh wow, look at that. Now we've got some artillery and we can take down the opposition. So that's really, really sweet. I like that. Really nice touch. And I love the fact that it folds in and out. They could have easily just kept it up, but they actually figured out that, hey, it'd be really cool if they folded in and out. And that's a really cool element. I definitely like that quite a bit. So that is the tumbler. So let's go ahead and set that to the side. Before we move on to the bat, you do also get these two nice little road signs, which I know that that's not a big piece of information or a really big significant piece within building such a cool set as this, but it's still cool that you do get these nice little road signs, and it's something that adds a little bit more to the storyline of the set. I always love when the like, actual toy can kind of like give you a story out of the box, and here you've got kind of like, you know, oh, there's road signs in the way and the Tumbler's trying to get away, but there's road signs coming up and it's gonna have to run through them. So it's like, yeah, it's a simple story, but at least it's there, and that's something really, really cool indeed. Again, this is done through sticker work, which is why it's a little bit crooked, because as you know, I'm terrible at stickering, so that's something that I am to blame for, but I've always been terrible with stickers. So there you go. I really like these. I'm definitely going to be utilizing them for different displays and such because they're pretty awesome and they're really, really simple to put together, which is why I'm going to be making more. But now, of course, let's get to the biggest of the pieces that you get to assemble and put together, and that is the bat. Now, of course, just like with the Tumbler, it's smaller than what you would actually want, or ideally, you know, if you wanted it to be to scale to the minifigure, it would be quite a bit larger. But once again, we might get a bat in the future. You know, they did the Tumbler, and if that thing is successful enough, they could consider doing a bat. I'm just probably worried that it's probably going to be like $300 because it's going to have to be even bigger and more complex than the actual Tumbler. So once again, just keep in mind what you're paying and why the scale is what it is. With that in mind, this thing has a lot of really, really cool mechanisms and a lot of really cool gimmicks and details to it that I've really found to be quite cool. First of all, I just like the entire aesthetic of kind of almost like a mech suit. Like you can almost see this as an upper shell for a mech suit. Like if you fold it up or folded away this tail piece, you could totally see this be the front of the mech suit. These would be the two arms and stuff. And I think it works in that sense. So I really like that entire mechanism. I really like these big joints that they allowed to add in here, and these little ratcheting joints up at the top here that really add a nice amount of variety in terms of how you would like to display this thing. But at the same time, it does keep that kind of really unique and obscure look that the Bat had in the Batman The Dark Knight Rises film, which I know some people don't like the design, so with that you can't really argue. Like if you don't like the design, obviously you're not going to like the way that this is done, but if you enjoyed the design, you found it intriguing and unique, then obviously you'll find some redeeming qualities to this. Now, it is lacking some of those elements that the Bat has in the films, like those big propellers that, you know, it has on the sides and kind of underneath here in the chassis, or underneath the chassis, I should say. It's not there. Yes, that is definitely a certain lacking quality, but again, with this scale, I think that it was just a little too complicated to pull off. You get a little bit of propeller work right here on the sides, as you can see, which is pretty nice. That's kind of cool. You also get some of them in the front here, so that's really cool as well. So you get at least some elements of that appearing here, so I'm okay with that. Then, of course, you've got the wire, which is very important towards the end of the film. I'm not going to spoil why, but you know that the wire plays a very important part and a very important role in the film. Now, of course, if you want, you could have it on hook like this. I typically just fold it right back up here so it's not kind of like dwindling all the way out and you only have a little bit of the wire hanging out that way. So I think that it just stays out of the way and it's a little bit more compact and nice that way. You can also get a little bit of a different profile by using the wing articulation up here, so you could kind of fold it out to almost be like a helicopter, which is really sweet. I love the variety of displays that I've been able to pull off with this thing. You can get a much straighter plane-like feel to flatten out the wings, which is of course also pretty cool. You can also, of course, shape these up. I mean, there's just a really nice plethora of stuff that you can do with this. You can fold it up all the way like this, for example, right? And kind of go for this kind of feel. I mean, there's just lots and lots of varieties that you can do with this. And for that, I really do like it. I always like when the toy gives you a lot of things that it doesn't even need to be able to do, because then it just gives you those extra added qualities of using your imagination to come up with the craziest, coolest forms of the bat, which is really, really sweet. The tail back here is also articulated, so you can kind of fold that up however you want. Kind of has this little bit of a manta ray-like shape, a little bit or kind of going on with the tail and everything, so that's kind of cool. And then I really like this engine piece back here. This just looks really sweet. It has this like bug-like design, which I really like, and it's done through these like 4 arms on each side that fold out, and if you want, you can actually fold them up as well to connect all the way with the wings, so that it creates a little bit of a spine for the design back here. So that's, again, another different rendition of displaying this thing, which is always excellent, because again, you get a whole bunch of different varieties of how you would like to display it, and whatever way you like best, you can stick to that and use that. Now, of course, throughout the entire showcase here, you might have noticed our little captain here, which is, of course, Batman. We'll get to the minifigures, by the way, in just a moment. You can pull them on out, and you will notice that there are indeed 2 spots available, just like in the film. We saw, of course, Catwoman residing in the back seat there, and Batman residing in the front seat, or maybe it was the other way around. I don't recall now. I think she might have been actually in the front seat, and he was in the back. But nonetheless, it does show you that you can fit 2 minifigures in here, which is pretty sweet. It is big enough to do so, which is quite lovely indeed. And then, of course, for artillery, you can see these nice little blasters up front here, which are really, really cool looking. But you also have some flick fire missiles, so of course, if you'd like to utilize those, you can go ahead and flick those, and they will take down the Tumbler, or at least hopefully they will. Now, of course, let's go on ahead and take a look at all the different minifigures that come in this set, which is, of course, Commissioner Gordon, Bane, and Batman. So let's get rocking. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, so let's kick things off with, of course, the one and only, the big baddie of The Dark Knight Rises. Well, kind of. And that is, of course, Bane, the big baddie of this set. Let's put it that way. That is certainly a thing that we could title him for this particular occasion. Nonetheless, of course, here is the Bane minifigure looking quite stylish. I really like the paint application on the chest and really on the mask. It definitely looks very, very cool. It doesn't look quite the same way as it did in the film. This one seems a little bit more triangular in its shape and stuff like that, but I think that they did a decent enough job to, of course, where you don't think, oh, that's not Bane, that's the Riddler. Like, it's not just completely off or just makes him look like some sort of crazy asylum guy. Like, you definitely think of, hey, yeah, that definitely resembles Bane as he looked in The Dark Knight Rises. I also really like the shiny paint that they use for the chest here. That looks quite cool. Nice little details with things like, for example, having a black glove here and then no glove on here. That's just really cool. Attention to detail there. And then you get the same type of attention to detail on the back here with the intricacies of the mask, of course, continuing all the way to the back, which is really cool. You can see all these little elements and rivets and components kind of working into that. That's really, really sweet. And then the jacket here, of course, continues as well. And definitely a military-like feel to Bane here, which is exactly how he should feel. So I think that that's really, really great. And overall, a very, very, very impressive minifigure indeed. So now, of course, let's go on ahead and take him off our little minifigure displayer here and move on to Commissioner Gordon, which was a bit of a surprise in this set. I kind of was expecting, to be honest, to get a Catwoman because, well, we saw, of course, Catwoman in the bat, so she would kind of make sense to be in the set, but it was surprising to see Commissioner Gordon be the one that was actually put into the set, so that was really, really cool. Of course, this is Commissioner Gordon as he is seen towards the end of the film, which is why he's wearing the SWAT attire there. He's got the nice pistol there, which is used countless of times. I always like the one that's got that little binocular edition here because it looks way cooler in my opinion, but this is a cool pistol as well. So, of course, as you can see, nice, simple outfit here. Very, very cool, though, iconic rendition of the, the thick mustache, the thick glasses. I think that works really, really effectively here for Mr. Jim Gordon. Now, of course, underneath the hairpiece here, you do get a different expression as well. So if you'd like to do that, you can go ahead and rotate it on out, or, of course, drop everything like I do, because that's what I do. That's what I do. But let me go ahead and pick that on up and position back into place, because that was just bad. And then, of course, la 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 la, and you get this terrified Jim Gordon when he's realizing that the bomb might go off and things are not going as well as he had hoped. So that's really cool. I really like whenever there's multiple expressions. Of course, it would have been nice to see something with Bane, maybe like a more wide-eyed look, or maybe like some sort of frazzled as if he's been knocked out or something. But again, with Bane, there is nothing to cover up the back of his head, so it makes sense that it would just be blank and not have anything there. The only way that they could have done that is if they included like, you know, 2 separate heads, and then they could have got 2 different expressions going. Nonetheless, this is Mr. Jim Gordon. Not much to him to say in terms of printing work. I mean, he's pretty much just like a SWAT guy, but then I do like the thick mustache, thick glasses. Definitely makes me think of Jim Gordon. But now let's move on to the Dark Knight himself, and that is, of course, Batman. I'm Batman. And I absolutely love this version of the Batman. At this point, I think I own 4? Yeah, I think I own 4 Batman minifigures. All of them have been renditions that were based on the comic book designs and everything. This is my first version that is based on the film renditions, the ways that we have seen Batman interpreted and outfitted in the Nolanverse or in the Christopher Nolan movies. And I really, really like this outfit. The way that it comes into Lego form is really sweet. I love all the little details here with the Cavalier-like outfit. It just definitely has this military-like feel. Very modern, very sleek, and just very, very, very cool looking. I think they did an absolutely tremendous job with that. You can also see the continuous detail underneath the cape here. Look at that. I mean, that is so cool, like how the spine comes together and everything. That's really, really sweet. The belt looks awesome. Just really, really great print work, and I am super duper impressed. In fact, this has become my favorite Batman minifigure that I own. Of course, just like with Jim Gordon, you do get 2 different expressions, so if you like this one better, you got the little smirking one if you want that one, which is kind of more comic booky Batman. It kind of fits more with that Batman, more so than, like, I don't really see the Dark Knight Batman smiling like that with that type of a smile. So I think that it's best to stick to on Batman face, because this one just works a little bit better for him in general, at least in my personal opinion. So there you guys have it. Of course, a nice solid set. I seriously was blown away by how cool this set was. All things considered, I kind of was going into this thinking like, it'll be probably pretty good. It'll be like an average kind of set that I'll enjoy, and I really genuinely will be honest, the only reason I picked up this set, it's been out for a while, it's not like a new set or anything like that, but the only reason I picked it up is because it was like on a ridiculously good clearance at a Target, so I was like, yep, gotta pick that up, it looks cool, and I definitely do not regret it. I actually regret that I didn't pick it up before, because, well, it just comes with some really sweet looking minifigures. I mean, you get some really key Batman villains here in the form, or villain in the form of Bane, and then you get a really cool supporting character with, of course, Commissioner Gordon. Still probably would have preferred to have Catwoman. I think that would have been a little bit cooler, but of course we also do have the very, very, very cool Batman, and along with that we get a really awesome Bat, and of course that fantastic Tumbler, and also those 2 little accessories in the forms of those little road cones or road signs. With all that in mind, guys, let me know what you guys think of the set down in the comment section below. Would love to hear your opinions and thoughts, and of course I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to hit that like button, share the video with your family and friends, favorite the videos as well, and I will of course catch you guys next time. Peace out, see you laters, alligators. Bye bye, guys.